What's up, guys? It's Austin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory, and today, guys, I have a deck profile for my Burning Abyss Sekka, or my Sekka Burning Abyss, or Sekka Abyss, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's been doing pretty good lately in like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And by the way, my deck profile is really similar to the deck profile of the guy who got second in the European YCS. Pretty similar, except I think I run different hand traps, and I think I might run some other different things. But anyway, I really like Burning Abyss. It's really flexible. You can keep cards in your side deck if you want to. You'd like to go in first, like Vanity's Fiend, and you can side out the Sekka to play like Floodgates if you want to, like Skill Drain or something like that. And those cards are really good. But you just usually want to, kaiju over your opponent's monsters. It's really good against Sky Striker. This deck is like made to go against Sky Striker, so it's like really grindy, so it can kind of grind with Sky Striker and kaiju over stuff and shut down their back row. But anyway, guys, let's just get into the deck profile. So first, I run 3 Farfa, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. He's really good removal. You just, when he's sent to the graveyard, he banishes a monster on the field into the next standby phase, or to the end phase, I mean. And then all of them have the effect where if you don't have a spell or trap, you can special summon them from your hand, but you can only either activate the special summon effect or the graveyard effect. You have to choose. So usually you normal summon one Burning Abyss, and then you special summon the other, so you get one of their effects, and the other one you get the special summon effect. So you just have to pick and choose there. Next you run 3 Skarm. When it hits the graveyard, you during the end phase you search a Fiend monster, so it's really good, or a level 3 Fiend monster, I believe. So it's really good. Next you run 2 Alec. Whenever he hits the graveyard, you target a monster on the field and its effects are negated. So usually you send this off of Beatrice, or sometimes off of Rhino Warrior if you detach it at the right time. Because sometimes you'll have a Beatrice with a Rhino Warrior on it, and whenever you detach the Rhino Warrior off of the Beatrice to activate its effect, you basically get to send 2 monsters. So sometimes you do that. Same thing with Calcab. It bounces a spell or trap to your opponent's hand. So it's pretty much like kind of the same as Alec. Next you run 2 Libic. Libic lets you special summon one out of your hand whenever it hits the graveyard, so it's pretty helpful for getting Burning Abyss monsters out of your hand that you might have already used their effect to special summon them. So that's pretty much the most useful thing for that. Now for Burning Abyss one-ofs. Now this doesn't necessarily mean they're the worst Burning Abyss monsters, because as we all know, Graph is probably the best, and you have to run 1 because it's limited to 1. So basically it hits the graveyard and you special summon a Burning Abyss monster from your deck. I mean, I can understand why this is limited to 1. This card is so good. You always want to see Graph. It is like just really good to see Graph. And cards like Phoenix Rhino Warrior and stuff like, and Beatrice just help you see your Graph a lot more often. So I mean, it's okay that it's at 1. At 3 it'd be really broken though. Even more broken though is Seer, being able to special summon them back from your grave like Dante's and then make Beatrices, and it's just really good. If Beatrice is at 2 and if Seer was at 2, this deck would be like really crazy, just because you could make like a lot of like just both Beatrices with like a Link monster. We really need the Burning Abyss Link monster. I really believe when that card comes out, Burning Abyss is going to be like meta, like real meta though, not like pop up every once in a while type meta. But anyway, next you run 1 Barbar. You use it for burn. With the new time rules, burn comes in handy some. So you just banish 3 Burning Abyss monsters, and then I think you burn 300 for each. Yes, you burn 300 for each. It's a pretty good card overall though. It has won me a couple games. Next, I run 1 Rubik because I do run the Virgil in my extra deck, because the Virgil has got me out of some tight jams. I mean, it's pretty much a unicorn if I'm not mistaken, and then when it dies I think you can draw a card or something, so it's pretty good. Oh yeah, it has pretty good attack too, I guess at 25. Next you run 1 Draghigig. I want to say Draghigig. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Whenever he hits the graveyard, you get a Burning Abyss card and add it to your deck, or put it on top of your deck, I mean. And then after that you run 1 Kogna. I'm gonna say Kogna. Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. Whenever he hits the graveyard, you get a Burning Abyss spell and then send it to your graveyard, or it might be trap too. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, it's spell or trap. So I don't really know what any of the Burning Abyss spell cards and traps. I think the spell card you use to ritual summon the Netherlord dude. So I mean, it's pretty good. That's it for Burning Abyss monsters. Now, just for just regular supporting monsters and that kind of thing. First, you run 3 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Fiendish Rhino Warrior is basically a walking Foolish Burial. And since you can't run Foolish Burial because you're running the second package, this is really good. Just being able to send anything really when it hits the graveyard. Next, you run 3 Orbital Hydrolander. Because Burning Abyss has trouble getting over big monsters, and Orbital Hydrolander really helps that. I used to not run it, but it wasn't that good in my version because I used to run PK Fire. As cringy as that name is, I guess that's what it is. So this isn't as good in PK Fire, I guess. But in Pure Burning Abyss, it's really good because you can banish them off the Barbar and the Snow. But being able to mill 3, and then if your graveyard still has nothing with the same name, be able to pop something, it's really good. Even him just by himself on the board, not even getting the pop, is a 3k attack beater. Is just still really good. And next, for one-ofs, you run 1 Snow. Snow is so busted. I can't tell you how many times I've had like a Snow in my grave and they attack, and I just special summon Snow in defense, flip something face down, and then they have to waste another attack to get over the Snow just for me to flip something else face down later. It's just really good. Next, you have Tour Guide. Tour Guide, enough said, you just normal summon it and then special summon a Fiend monster from your deck, but it's effects negated, so you can summon any Burning Abyss monster and get their graveyard effect, so it's just really good. Now for like hand traps, I guess, I run 2 Ash Blossom. You don't want to run too many Ash Blossoms because it's not good milling them, first of all, and clogging them is pretty bad, and you don't really want a bunch of them in your graveyard. Since they're not Burning Abyss monsters, it's kind of harder to banish them, and you already have enough of those in Orbital Hydrolander and Rhino, and that's also why I only run 2 Ghost Bella. Ghost Bella I feel like is really strong in this format because there's a lot of cards that banish, especially some from the graveyard, and add cards from the graveyard back to your hand. Like you can hit Harate with this, you can hit a lot of the Burning Abyss cards, some of the Altergeist cards, you can hit Called by the Grave with this. It's just a really good card overall. Next, I guess for Kaijis, because you do run Kaijis to get over things, you run just 1 of all the Kaijis, so 1 Gamma Seal, 1 Kumongus, 1 Godarla, sorry if I butcher these names, 1 Raiden, I think that's Raiden, 1 Dogoran, he's pretty good, 1 Thunder King, and 1 Jizukiru. So you run 1 of each of them because you don't really want a bunch of names. Now the best ones to draw obviously are like a Gamma Seal and a Jizukiru or a Lightning Strike, because they're matching attacks. Be able to attack over whatever you give them, which is usually the Gamma Seal, and they can't negate it, which is probably the best thing about it because it's not an effect. It's just really good overall. So that's all for monsters. 37 monsters, or yeah, 37. I was right about that. Last 3 cards, just 3 seconds light. Basically, it's a draw 3. If you just have a monster left over in your hand after you activate its effect to draw the 2. And it's just super good. It's like, it's gotten me out of so many sticky situations just seeing this card late game, or just seeing it even early game to boost my hand. It's just such a good card overall, and I really, really like it. I really like playing the seconds light, but sometimes, you can, like I said, you can play in your side deck like cards like 2 Mass Change and maybe a Dark Law for your extra deck, or you can play like Different Dimension Ground if you're playing against like a mirror match or something. You can side that in going first, drop that on your opponent, and you just utterly destroy them because there's not really much they can do against that. If they're playing a graveyard deck, you could side in Vanity's Fiend, because Vanity's Fiend with Burning Abyss, you just special summon the Burning Abyss monster and then tribute it for the Vanity's Fiend, and that's just boom, Vanity's Fiend. And it's kind of hard to get over a 24k beater without special summoning, so that's pretty obvious. But there's just a lot of things you can do with this deck. You can put in floodgates like Rivalry Warlords. They're all fiends, so it's really good just to, I don't know, it's just really, really versatile. There's a lot of tools at your disposal to use with this deck. That's just one reason I really like Burning Abyss. But next, with the extra deck, I run 3 Dante. A lot of people don't run 2 or only run 2 Dante, but I find myself running out of Dantes because you might get hit by Called by the Grave, which banishes one of them, and you really don't want to banish them. And sometimes, if you're just running 2, you have to use the last one to recycle back the other one to your extra deck so you can keep using your Dantes. but a lot of times there's other cards I'd rather recycle back than an extra Dante. So if I have 3, I don't have to recycle back until my 3rd Dante, which is just really nice overall. Next, you run 1 Beatrice. Beatrice is super good. So when you first make it in this deck, you have to wait a turn. But during your opponent's turn, you usually detach to send like either a Graph for more advantage. But usually the Graph will just summon something and it pops itself. And there's like you can get like just more feet in your graveyard way of getting rid of something or disruption. So you can send like a Farfa to banish, an Alec to negate something, or a Calcab to bounce a spell or trap back, or just a number of different things really. You can send a Snow off of it, which I find is really, really helpful if you're going against like sort of something you think might OTK you, and that's just like really good in general. Next cards I almost never use. Phantom Knight Breaksword. He's easy to make removal, and I usually make him like when I'm in like some dire straits, but you know he has come out clutch before, so I still run him. Nightmare Shark, really good for ending games, because you know that 2,000 damage, I mean that's 1/4 of killing your opponent, so it's just really worth using, I guess. One Super Quantal Mech Beast, Grampulse, yeah, that's it. It's good for popping stuff, I guess. I mean, MST on wheels, I guess, or on legs. One Stone King Darius. This guy is like really underrated, but he's really good. Just I think he attacks something and detach and destroys what he attacks, I think. But he's really good in general. Now for links. One Underclock Taker, because there's a combo where you end with the Underclock and a Beatrice. All you have to draw pretty much is a Burning Abyss Monster and a Rhino Warrior, and it's just really good. And then not mill the Seer off your Dante. But next you run 1 Nightmare Cerberus, because discarding is good to pop something, and then if it's co-link you can still draw, so that's nice. Same thing with Phoenix. It's also nice being able to get advantage off discarding off of this card, and sometimes you can draw. I usually don't though, because this isn't like a big explosive link deck. Next, Borreload, just because it's Borreload. I mean, he's on the mat, guys, but Borreload, he's just a really good link monster. Really want a Borrelsword, but I doubt I'm going to get one of those anytime soon, but you never know. Next, you run 1 Topologic Gumblar. Gumblar is really good in this deck because discarding is helpful usually, and then being able to pull cards out of your opponent's hand is really good. Because at first, when I first got like an Omega, because Omega is like really the card known for hand looping. I mean, it's at 1 for a reason. But when I first got an Omega, I didn't realize how bad it was until I got my 2nd Omega, and I played it in like a really good synchro deck. Like, you literally make it to where your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand sometimes, because you could just like, they start their turn, they only have 1 card, they draw their 2nd card for turn, you banish both Omegas, take both cards out of their hand, they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So I feel like this card can be really good in certain situations, and it's a lot like Omega, just double Omega, I guess. And it doesn't like tag out, so they can't really negate it, but you know what I mean. But anyway, you run 1 Big Dante to tag out with the Beatrice. Pretty much, you're just like, oh, you destroyed my Beatrice. Well, here's Dante, big boy Dante. He can't be targeted. You discard a Burning Abyss Monster to draw a card. When he leaves the field, I think you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. It's just overall really good. Next one, Virgil. Like I said, I've made Virgil a few times, getting me out of some sticky situations, and he's overall just really good. You just discard a Burning Abyss Monster and shuffle a card on the field back into the deck. So it's basically a unicorn. So since I don't have a unicorn, this is kind of my unicorn. I guess it's just harder to make, more situational. And then whenever he leaves the field, you draw a card. So he's just really good in general. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the deck profile, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I think I might have been talking kind of fast. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to do this in a hurry because I have a lot to say about this deck. But I'm just trying to, get it out. But anyway, guys, please like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.